If anyone's familiar with the Teletubbies, when they see that episode, they'll be like, okay, I see how this inspired it.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of E-Junkies. So as you know, Loki premiered on Disney Plus yesterday, and today we're going to be celebrating the launch of the show by talking to director Kate Herron. So she'll be joining us to tell us, how Teletubbies influenced the show, as well as what it's like to re-envision this character who is kind of like plucked out from the events of like Avengers. So he's at the height of his villainy, and he doesn't have that redemption arc, and it's hitting that reset button and going back to square one. So let's hear what Kate has to say. Hi, it's Brian from AsiaOne Singapore. Nice to meet you, Kate.
Hi.
Thank you so much for taking the time with us. So I'll jump into the first question. You previously hinted at Teletubbies being an influence for the show. Could you share with us more about how it influenced the show?
So I would say it's a visual reference, and it's one of our later episodes. So yeah, if anyone's familiar with the Teletubbies, when they see that episode, they'll be like, okay, I see how this inspired it.
This is Loki that was plucked at the height of his villainy, right after the events of Avengers. So, could you tell us how, when you're approaching this series, how did you feel about hitting that reset button and going back to square one without 9 years of the MCU universe on your shoulders?
Because I love Loki, and that's why I pursued this project so heavily. And he has had one of the best arcs of the MCU, I think, over the last 10 years. We've seen him go from villain to anti-hero, and I love villains, and I think that you don't necessarily have to like their actions, but you have to understand them. And I think Tom, his performance brought such empathy and grounding to why Loki was doing what he was doing. So even when he is at his most villainous, you can't help but root for him, even if you're like, no, don't do that. It's coming from a place of pain, and you kind of understand why he's doing what he's doing. So I think for me, it was definitely a challenge in the sense that, as you said, we took him from Avengers, and he's not the Loki that died in Infinity War, and he hasn't gone on this journey. So I think for me, the interesting thing was, okay, well, he's not going to be arrested and go back to Asgard. He's actually going to be arrested and go to the TVA. So how does this Loki react? Is he going to go on a similar path, or will it be quite different? And I would say in some ways it's very different. And I think that was really exciting to us, putting Loki, who's so chaotic, in this place of order and bureaucracy.
As a director, what did you envision for this character that you hope would firstly endear him to the viewers, because this is again Loki without 10 years of redemption. Secondly, make him feel new to viewers, and thirdly, give him that same level of depth that he's built over the past 9-10 years.
I think the amazing thing, is that we have 6 hours, so we can delve into Loki in so many ways that you just can't do in a 2-hour film. So I would say in our first episode, to answer your question in the sense of what's new, I think we really do show this, a Loki that's familiar from Avengers. But in terms of endearing him, honestly, I think the first thing is he's like a fish out of water. And, when he's going through the TVA, I always liken it to going through customs. You sympathize with him, as he's going through this ridiculous bureaucratic situation. Tom always talks about Loki like keys on the piano. And he says that, we've seen a few keys with his personality across the films, but there's so much yet to explore. So I think that was really important to me, that we were kind of showing new sides to him and getting to explore his character in a way that we just haven't been able to do before. In the first episode, we do discuss a lot of what happens in those 9 years in a very meta way with our Loki. And I think what's interesting about it is audiences that maybe haven't caught up on Loki's story, they will be caught up. But then audiences that they're getting to experience that story from a very new perspective, obviously, because they're almost, Loki is the audience to his own story in that first one.
Without giving us spoilers, because we don't want to incur the wrath of Kevin Feige, what can you say, to entice viewers to watch Loki?
I would say if you love Loki, please watch. But, if you don't maybe know that much about Loki or even the MCU and Marvel, I would say that our show is about identity, and we're exploring the question of, is anyone truly good or truly bad, and that gray area in between. And I think that echoes out across all the characters in the show. And just, what is our place in the universe? Is there destiny, or, do we have free will? And I think that's something that, as people, I think that's something that I know I think about a lot. So I would say if any of what I'm saying in that regard interests you, then please watch our show, and hopefully you'll have a fun time, and we have good jokes as well. So
Thank you so much, Kate, for your time.
Thank you.
Hope you've been well. Congratulations on the show and stay safe. And I don't know if you can't see it, I actually am wearing a Loki t-shirt. So
Amazing.
thank you. Okay, see you. Thank you so much. We are very excited that we had the opportunity to talk to Kate to find out her views on what it's like to approach this character all over again, and to kind of create Loki in a different vein than what we saw, from the MCU for the past 9 or 10 years. And one of the things that she talked about, which I thought was quite interesting, was this exploration of your purpose in life, your journey in life. Is it predetermined? Are you on a set path, or do you actually control your own destiny? From what I can tell, they have briefly kind of like scratched the surface of this. It's a very heavy topic, so I'm interested to see where they go with this. And I think it's very pertinent because it ties into this fundamental question: what is the meaning of our existence? And as Loki loves to say, I am burdened with glorious purpose. So I mean, are we? We don't know. But yeah, I'm interested to see where that plot line actually goes. Without giving away too much, I think what I can say is that there is strangely a very strong WandaVision vibe, but insofar as in the mystery is concerned, because as you guys already know probably, at the end of the first episode there is this bomb that is dropped about this mysterious person that they're chasing, and I think it's very similar to WandaVision in that something evil, something nefarious, something mysterious is afoot. It's not straightforward, it zigs where it zags, and you can't really quite tell where things are going to go. So I think that's the WandaVision vibe for me. Based on speculation from people and fans, we might get an exploration of Loki's powers, specifically maybe his shape-shifting abilities and the different incarnations that have been presented in the comics. So that would be like a trippy ride to go down. And I am really, really excited to see where Gugan Bathorov's character goes, as well as Owen Wilson's, because I think you don't just cast named actors and actresses in a show and then cast them aside. So yeah, we will see where their characters are headed towards and how they tie into the MCU on a larger scale. So as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more similar content. Until next time, bye!